Hello everybody, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit out of the ordinary, for me at least. That's going to be making one of my own games, putting it up on my channel, but this is for a reason, and a reason that I'm sure you know by the time you clicked on the video. I'm going to be introducing a little bit of a series for each of the three races. They'll each have their own playlist of some of the builds that low-level players can pick up and learn. I will be including the game. I'll be including the build orders in the description below, so I'm going to go ahead and get into this because it's actually kind of important. So, opening is pretty much standard for this, which is of course the 3-gate Robo. We're going to be seeing a 9 pylon, and something to be kept in mind when playing any game, if you are a bronze silver level player, is always to continue making probes, and that's one of the things that I've been doing this entire game. You always want a chrono boost when you come out with your first pylon at a 9. 13 is when you're going to be dropping down your gateway. Now, as this build order is inclined to do, we are going to be seeing a 3-gate Robo, which means we're going to be seeing 3 gateways and additional Robo added on. This specific set of build is going to be centered around a timing push off of 2 Immortals. And I'll go back and I'll explain that when we get to it. So we're going to be seeing a 13 gateway, and we're going to be wanting to drop down our gas at about 15. And like I said, keeping up on probe reduction, that's going to be the big thing to have happen right now, is making sure that you continue to produce probes so you can hit some of these supply markers. After we see our assimilator at 15, we're going to be wanting to grab a 16 pylon over here. And the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to continue producing probes till the 18 supply mark. And at that point, we're going to be wanting to pop down our cybernetics core. We're wanting to make sure to fill in the gas with 3 because we are only going to be taking 1 gas, and gas is actually pretty important in this build so that we can keep up on all of the tech units that we possibly could need. Cybernetics core is going to want to come down at 18, and this is going to be wanting to chrono boost out for your warp gate. After that comes up, you're going to be focusing on most of your chrono boosts are going to be mostly going up onto the cybernetics core as soon as it finishes up. You can always keep putting up chrono boosts up on the probes until then if you would like, but as soon as that pops up, you want to start moving stuff over there. We're going to be wanting 22 pylon. This is your 3rd pylon in your base, and then you're going to be wanting to wait till the zealot pops up. When the zealot pops up, you're going to be wanting to drop down your stalker. It should be somewhere around the 23 mark. We're also going to be seeing I am warp gate tech, so that we know that we're going to be perfectly fine in that regard. Zealot's going to run by the ramp just to make sure. We're going to also be seeing a 2nd gas drop down on the 25 mark. Meanwhile, we're going to be adding on a 2nd gateway at the 26 mark. And as soon as the stalker finishes up, should be right around the 27 mark, we're going to add in our first sentry. Now, you can do this without a sentry, but I would seriously advise it with it, because you can also force field as well as guardian shield to kind of help you in the timing attack and a little bit in the early defense. Now, this build order is up against all of the races. You can do it against any of the races that you so choose, especially in the low leagues when it's not a lot of crazy early things that you have to worry about, at least nothing that's too out of the ordinary. We're going to be seeing gateway number 3 added on at about the 31 mark, and we're going to be seeing, in addition to the robotics facility, added on right after that as well, which is right around that 31-minute mark, or 31 supply mark, excuse me. So this is the point where we're going to be just about finishing up our warp gate tech. And when that happens, we want to turn these into warp gates so that they're able to produce much faster. At this point, I would suggest grabbing stalkers and zealots. Sometimes you can add in sentries, but in the low leagues, you don't normally want to use more than 1 because it's a little bit of a trade-off of, do you want to use force fields and guardian shields? Of course, you can add in sentries, but I would seriously do suggest going for stalkers or zealots at that point. Now, at this point, the build order is going to ramp off a little bit. However, I am going to be finishing up with the replay in the sense that I'm going to be following through to the timing attack that I mentioned before. Now, normally you would want to get a Mothership Core into this, and I don't mind a Mothership Core, but in low leagues, most people are either going to forget or just not do it. I would suggest if you remember to put it into the build, probably right around the time that you're starting to lay down your gateways. One Immortal is out, so now I'm going to be starting to push out. Make sure that you have a probe on the map to put down a proxy pylon so that you can warp in near your opponent's base. I'm going to do exactly that right now. And I'm going to be moving out with my units. Something to keep in mind is that as you're moving out, you always want to A-click, and you want to be moving out across the map towards that pylon first, wherever that is you are going to place it. And then you want to warp in when that gets done. At this point, it is going to be a little bit of a so matter. We're going to be seeing a expansion because you want to expand behind this. This is actually a very important part of the build. This particular part of the build is that you want to expand behind your attack so that you're able to do a little bit more economically, even if this push fails, which it shouldn't in most cases in low levels, but still it is. Yeah, it is, and by this point you're going to be moving into your opponent's natural expansion. In this case, my opponent, Mr. AI Very Easy, doesn't really have any units, so I'm just going to kind of win the engagement at this point. So folks, I'm going to go over the build order real quick. Once again, I will, like I said, put it in the description below, but just so you guys can hear it a little bit. So we're going to be having a 9 pylon, 13 gateway, 15 assimilator, 16 second pylon, 18 cybernetics core, 19 zealot, 22 pylon, 23 stalker, 25 assimilator, 26 second gateway, 27 sentry, 30 fourth pylon, 30 gateway, 31 robotics facility. And then you want to push out when you have your first immortal on the map. Make sure you put down your proxy pylon and expand behind it. Alright folks, this is going to be the 3-gate Robo. If you guys have any questions about it or any more builds you'd like to see, let me know. I'm still kind of looking for a Terran and a Zerg one, but those will be up as soon as I find them. Thank you guys very much, and I hope this helps you out.